Hello? Hello? Hello, Madam Adola, can you hear me? Hello, Madam Adola.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, I just want to be sure I am audible new.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, gbọ́ mi dáadáa.
Thanks, sir.
Àwọn ráìvà mi ń kọ́.
All right, sir.
Ṣé wọ́n pé nǹkan tó sọ àti rìkọ́dẹ̀? Okay, that's good.
Yes, sir.
Ọlọ́run jẹ́ gbọ́ pé o tún wà lónìí, wà á ní nǹkan tí màá bẹ̀rẹ̀ fún.
Yes, sir.
Ìwọ náà mọ̀ pé o lè wà lónìí àbí?
Àtọ̀.
So, Madam, hope you can see your slides.
Yes, sir. Very well.
Okay. Ah, 8:30 lápẹ́ o. Maybe we should start once it's 8:30. Káwọn tó kù dẹ̀ máa bá wa. Àbí ṣé ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní 8:30?
No, sir. Bóyá ká dúró de àwọn yòókù.
O ò fẹ́ joyè olódo nìyẹn o. Do you know, the one I'm sharing now, I'm using it online. Just stop it and then share that with. Can somebody tell them on the platform that we're starting? So we have 2 out of 5. Okay, Fupola is there. We have 3. Chuma of speaker from America. Hmm? Oh, see, checking. Mo ṣe ẹgbẹ́ òdòdó ìwọ ló ṣì wà lórí ìdíkẹ́ kí ló lò the same email you have to exit well. You cannot connect it with it. Just log in into your team with your audio. Okay, who is left to join us in this? Okay, Christiana Adeleke. Let me just call her. She has been a lazy girl. Let me just call her so we can start. It will not last. It will last an hour. Hello. 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 Don't you know we have?
Hello, we are with you, sir.
You don't know we have class this evening. This is Prof. Yeah. Okay, Okpale. You're supposed to be in class. You have the online class this evening, 8:30. Bele. Iṣẹ́ ti pọ̀ jù. Bele. Okay, this is we'll start exactly 10:10. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our session for the Tourism and Hospitality Consulting. Hope you can see my slide. Are you seeing my slide, please? And
Yes, sir.
okay, so
I
we
didn't
are
see it
trying
yet.
to round up, and we pray we'll be able to month. So I'll be
I
introducing
can't
all
see your
of us.
slide yet, Prof.
Who can see the slide? Any other person? Can anybody see the slide, please?
I can see the slide.
You can see. Any other
Yes, sir.
person?
I can see as well.
Okay, 2. I think some people are far behind. They're seeing the previous one I shared. Okay, what I'm going to do now is, for the sake of everybody, let me stop sharing. I'm going to share again. No. Okay, what about now?
Yes, I can see it now, sir.
Okay, you cannot see the welcome.
Sir.
Okay, let me see. So this is like 12 minutes, 11:45 seconds into the recording. So thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this session. And we are focusing on our tourism and hospitality consulting concentration. So this will be one out of the 4 classes you'll be having. Your next class will probably be by Pastor Adesuba on the 8th and 9th of February. He has blocked 8th and 9th of February, but we are yet to conclude if 8 will be for consulting or hospitality or 9 will be for consulting or hospitality, but we'll confirm. So I'm taking an introduction to consulting with a focus on hospitality and tourism. So this is what we'll be looking at. What is management consulting? Why are consultants used? Who uses consultants? Scope of consulting services, defining the consultant's role, the do's and don'ts of consulting, and we're going to conclude looking at consulting as either a profession or as just an hobby to some of us. Now, you need to understand that you are taking a special class. At the end of your session, for your class, your evaluators will be fellows of the fellows of the Association of Tourism and Hospitality Consultants, which is AFCON, because everybody that passes through this class will be inducted on the day of the graduation as a member of AFCON, if not yet a member. So that means the person will be saved the stress of passing through passing through induction, passing through all manners of processes, because the micro MBA hospitality and tourism with focus on tourism and hospitality consulting has been concluded and to admitted as a minimum qualification for those who are seeking direct entry into the membership of ATCOM. So to all of us, congratulations in advance while we proceed accordingly. So we'll be looking at this within the next 1 hour or so. So what is management consulting? Just as I put here, it is simply from consulting is the business or act of coming up with a solution. Sorry, I'll need to, I think we have somebody in the waiting room. Okay. Somebody just joined us in the waiting room. Okay, thank you. So it is an act, a business or act of coming up with a solution for real world business situation or problem. And such solution takes either a form of advice offered by specialists in their respective field, provided it's giving advice towards solving a problem or a situation. If you look at consulting, it can come in 2 approaches. The first approach is what we call the broad functional view, which is a form of providing help in the context, process, or structure of tasks or series of tasks, where the consultant is not responsible for doing the task itself, but is helping those who are. So that is from a broad functional view, whereby they only give you advice, you are not the one to carry out the activity. Example is if you are like let's say in hospitality now, you are like a destination consultant. You are asked to go and consult for now example Idere Hills, and you are telling them, okay, for the Idere East, can you have a restaurant up? Can you have this, that? You are not the one either using your money or actively involved in getting it done. That means you are operating from a broad functional view. Now, the second one is referred to as a special professional service. This is an advisory service contracted for and provided to organizations by specially trained and qualified persons who assist in an objective and independent manner the client's organization to identify managers' problem, analyze them, and make recommendations when requested is the implementation of solutions. So when you look at the specialized professional service, this is when a consultant is engaged for a special purpose, and this purpose is defined because of the skill that they have. For example, if we decide to ask, okay, we have, who is Chef Shine? Oh, somebody that did mMBA, for example. Now, let's say Dr. Akerele just won a contract to set up a hotel for Kwara State government, a five-star hotel, and said, look, I think I'll need a chef in the kitchen, and he decided to contact Chef Shine. And chef comes and says, look, this is your kitchen. I will need to help you ensure we'll set it up, and I'll make sure I am in charge for the first 30 days in ensuring everything works perfectly before I return back to my Lagos base. You realize that it's because of the skill he has that is focused on the kitchen operation and management. So it will be out of place if he now gets there and is talking about housekeeping. So you can see, so when it comes to the specialized professional service, it is because of the specialty in that person that enables him to be able to be offered that job. Like you get to some point where we have to bring out some companies for you to see whether they're in broad functional view or their specialty professional services. You see it as we proceed. So let's look at it. This is what we call the consulting topology. What do we have? Now, if you look at these four, it's just like a four boxes. To your left on the screen is the service providers. To the right, software providers. Top, strategic consultants, and lower, technology providers. No matter the consultancy you're doing, you are going to tilt towards either of these, or you are taking one or two. Or for example, let's look at the difference between Deloitte and Accenture. Deloitte is more of a service provider than a technology provider, and it's also into consultancy service. Compared to Accenture, Accenture operates as a service provider, and also they are technology provider towards technology provision. So they can advise you generally, as well they can also provide technology to support you in your business. Now let's look at another one, which is a Sapient. Sapient is more of a strategy consultant, less of a software provider. Unlike Diamond, that provides software and also are also into strategy consulting. Now let's look at IBM. Look at IBM towards the tail end to your right. It's a software provider as well as a technology provider. So you can see, and some of them are just in one way or the other, they are specialists in that area. So for example, in our own field now, we are offering services to hospitality and tourism. We tend to tilt towards service providers. But some of us will say, look, yes, I'm a service provider, but also I want to go into technology as well. Then you may want to go towards service provider and technology. Some of us will want to say, look, I want to be doing strategic management, giving strategic advice to hotels. When somebody is going down, want to come in and make sure he's back on his feet, then that means such consultant is a service provider and also a strategy consultant. So those are the kind of activities that we tend to have when it comes to consulting business. Can you see the slide of consulting topology? Let me see.
No, sir.
Oh, it's still showing what is consulting. Have you seen it now?
No, sir.
Not yet. Has it changed now? Okay, you know what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to stop sharing and I'll share it. Okay, it's there now. Okay,
Yes,
I
sir.
think I know what happened. It was my screen that got frozen. Now, can you now understand what I was trying to say? Now you can look at these are the topology. No matter the kind of consultant you have, this is where you are going to be working. Now, I want you to understand, I'm trying to take you to the consultant world, what is happening before you start getting it streamlined into tourism and hospitality. So we all know PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. They're like an accounting firm, auditing firm, but they are referred to as a service provider and they work partly as technology provider. Compared to Accenture, they are in the same market, but they work more of less of service provider and less of technology provider. Unlike Deloitte is more of service provider and less of technology provider. If you look at IBM is more of software provider as well as technology provider. So anywhere you have, it's not necessarily you have to pick one activity. You can as well have more than one activity going in for you. So now let's go what consulting is. I guess your screen has changed. Has it changed now? Okay, I think I should just leave it this way. Now, so what is consulting? One, very in the simplest form, is the professional help to management practitioners. You are giving them, also, it's more of an advisory service, whereby you have the responsibility to give quality and integrity. That is, you have responsibility for the quality and integrity of advice. So it's not only you give the right service, but to give it in the right way to the right person at the right time. So consulting is also more of an independent service. That means when I'm not on your payroll and I'm independent, I am not bound by your rules and regulations. It shows I am doing consulting for you. So we have finance whereby the person has what we call financial independence. He is not on your payroll. He has administrative independence. He's not bound by your work policy. He has political independence. He's not part of your board of directors, and he has emotional independence. He is not attached to anybody. Emotionally attached to anybody within the organization. So it means if you want to know whether you're a consultant, you ask yourself, yes, I want to give professional help to, for example, Laumi. And secondly, I'm giving her quality advice. She needs advice on how to reduce guest complaint, and I'm willing to give. But am I independent? So if it means, yes, financially, I am not on their payroll, yes, I'm still a consultant. I don't need to resume to our office 8 o'clock and close 4 o'clock. I can resume anytime. Yes, that still makes me a consultant. Political independence, that means I don't have influence on whether she's being promoted or not. Yes, I'm a consultant, but she's my wife, then that does not make me a consultant. So you can see now. So these are the things we see before you say somebody is a consultant. So that means if your boss, the MD of the company, is advising the GM on what to do, that MD is not a consultant. Even though she's giving quality advice, that GM does not have political independence. So for you to be a consultant, all these three must be complete. You must be willing to help by giving your advice, which must be quality, and there must be independence in these 4 areas between you and the person or the organization you are giving that advice. So if, for example, you are sitting on the board of a company, you cannot be a consultant to that company. It means you don't have political independence. If you are a GM, you cannot be a consultant because you don't have administrative independence. I hope we will understand so that when things are happening, I want to say I want to be a consultant, I am a consultant, you will know why you are a consultant and why you cannot be a consultant in some areas. So what consulting is not. consulting is not the provision of miracle solution to burning issues. Consulting is not, I come and I say receive and everything normalizes. That is not consulting. So we need to understand consulting as a process, which you are going to see as we proceed. So we move on to the second aspect of our class, which is why are consultants used? So I've been able to come out with some of these few ones. One, the main practical reason which leads organizations and managers to seek help from consultants are below. One, special knowledge and skills. Now, because
Sorry, Prof.
acquiring that
That's
skill, sir,
okay. I'm seeing.
have you seen it?
I'm seeing. Okay, I'm seeing another screen now.
Why are consultants used? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So when you realize there is a skill that you do not have, or it will take time or finances for you to acquire that skill, and you cannot afford to give out that time or the finances, you go for a consultant. Somebody already has that knowledge and skill to come and offer the services for you. Now, when an intensive professional help is required on a temporary basis, for example, you know, I said you must be financially independent as a consultant. But for example, I am a professor at Atiba and I have my GM just resigned and I need somebody to come in on a temporary basis, or there are issues at one of my units. So I decided to say, who is there? Who is that? Okay, any turn. Yes, any turn is there. Any turn. I will need you as a professional person. Can you please take charge of my Oshogbe unit and ensure all these advices you have given, you are now implementing it, and I'm giving you 3 months to stabilize everything, and I'll come and take over. That you still have financial independence because the contract you are signing is for 3 months, so you are still a consultant. So you can see it's that I need your professional help on a temporary basis. So that person is still a consultant and not a staff of the organization. Also, I am confused and I need an impartial outside viewpoint, a non-biased viewpoint. Somebody is not part of the system, then I'll go and look for a consultant. I need to justify some management decision. Then you also need a consultant who can come and look at it impartially. And sometimes when I need to learn through consulting, just like what you are doing now, this is the science of consulting you are doing. Then there is another part, which is the art of consulting, whereby you are into the practice of consulting. You are still a consultant. And also when benefits exceed the cost, that means people will also use a consultant. For example, I realized that instead of me having to call, do advert in the newspaper, interview all my management staff, it will cost me like 10,000 naira. So I now call a consultant who is ready to collect 5,000 to do the same job. Then that means the benefit is more than the cost. Kukuma take it. You can see, so it is not necessarily because I cannot do that thing. It's not as if I don't have the skill. But sometimes using a consultant comes cheaper. Then people will go for a consultant. So those are the few ones I picked. There are other reasons that time will not permit us to discuss. So who uses consultants? Who uses consultants? One, before we talk about who uses consultants, let's look at why we employ consultants. One, because of their expertise. We see them as people knowledgeable in their field. Two, because we expect that they will be objective because they don't have anything at stake. So they will tell us the way it is. Three, because sometimes people use consultants because they are looking for people to blame. We need to tell the fact. The man wanted to sack the GM, but he doesn't want to do it himself. He will bring a consultant, just recommend for me to sack him. Then they'll say it is what the consultant said we should do. That also. Also, they use it to save money. I just gave you an example. It will be cheaper for me to use consultant to do recruitment than me getting involved. and also for external knowledge like best practices, benchmarking, we also use consultants. These are the reasons we employ consultants. So who uses a consultant? One, an hailing or excellent organization. When an organization is sick or the organization is doing wonderfully well, they use consultants. And what do they use consultants for? One, for corrective problems. Those are the people we call troubleshooters. Let me look into what is wrong with my managers. They are all just sluggish. Or progressive problems. We just enter a market in the north and we realize people are coming to us. Can you help us know why people are asking for our services in the north? And another reason is creative problems. We want you to help us look at what we are doing well, but can you tell us what may likely be our problem? Those are the reasons why we use consultants. I was at a retreat of an NGO over the weekend, and they are talking, this an organization that is over 50 years, and they were saying, look, we want to still be at least relevant in the future. So they've not even seen the problem. They're already planning ahead that how can we still be at least relevant in the next 50 years? And they were troubleshooting creative problems. Another one, beyond the business corporation, not only people in business uses consultants. Outside business, people also use consultants to attend to issues. Also at the international scene, we have consultants. Virtually all the international organizations have consultants to help them monitor their contractors to be sure the job they have given to the contractors are done to specification. And the last one, the general trends. When things are going on, people want to know how they fit in. They also engage consultants. Some people will engage consultants because their friends are also engaging consultants. So they too want to feel like the big boss. So those are the reasons. Now, what are the scope of consulting services? We have looked at the definition of consulting. We have looked at what are the elements of one being a consultant. We have looked at what consultant does and who uses consultant, the reason why they are. So we now want to see the scope of consulting. So I've decided to segment it. Now, we have industry consultants, whereby you work based on your industry. Your skill is attached to your industry. You can have banking consultants, financial consultants. Those who work with banking institutions. The one we are is hospitality and tourism consultants. They also work. So like this one now, we have industries. Now we have functions. We can have consultants who are strategic consultants. We have consultants who are operational specialists. They are operation managers. They can look at your process and simplify it. That is also consulting job. We have some that are sector-based. So for example, if we say industry-based, we can say hospitality and tourism, they are all industry-based. Banking and finance, health consultants. That's why in health, we have so many consultants. Gynae consultants, so many consultants. So then manufacturing, these are industry-based. You can also be based on function. I am an HR consultant. I only want to recruit and train, design your HR. I am an IT consultant. Those are based on function. I am a strategy consultant. I am an operations consultant. So then we have sector specific. You can be non-profit organization consultant. You can be for public or you can be for private purpose. So you can now see that the job of a consultant is so wide and so huge. So another scope of consulting is you can either be a generalistic or a specialist consultant. Generalist consultant is a consultant that can fit into any function that is being called for. It's into strategy, it's into operation, it can do IT. And when you look at a generalist consultant, in most cases, the man have other specialists who works with him. So he presents himself as a one-stop warehouse where you can talk, give him all your problem. He has people that are specialists and he can bring them. That is a generalist consultant. Then we have specialist consultant that only focus on specific areas. For example, now, if I say I am an horticulturist and I want to be an horticulture consultant, it will be wrong for you to ask me to come and be your F&B consultant. So you can now see when you start going to specific, you become a specialist, HR consultant. He doesn't want to talk about account. He just wants to focus on staff recruitment, staff selection, staff training and placement. Then another scope is internal or external. Most people, so you can either work from within the organization or you work from outside the organization. It is now a sort of ideas now where organizations retain consultants, put them on a fee that make them at least they are there always. So, for example, if you permit me, I will say Dr. Kerele can be classified as an internal consultant to the hotel at Ibadan because he was initially an external consultant. Now, because he has been there, everything passes through his table, even though he has his independence. Before they talk to anybody outside, the owner still talk to him to seek his advice. So it's more of an internal consultant. But an external have not had any interaction with that person or that organization, and it's coming from outside. But in most cases, most external end up becoming internal once there is relationship between the consultants and the businesses. So those are the scope. So we'll quickly go on to defining the consultant role. I think I'm moving too fast. I've just spent less than 30 minutes. So defining the consultant role. Yes, we have, just like we discussed, we define what consultant is, but we need to also have a caveat that a management consultant is not a Superman. You can say I put the logo and the picture of Superman. He's not a Superman. He's not a human being. In most cases, consultants are not even the brightest or the best in any society. They don't have Harvard MBA, and most of them are not even business students. They are not magicians, they are not preachers, and they are not witch doctors. So if a management consultant is not a bright person, he's not an effico like me, and he does not go to Harvard, he does not have any master's degree or PhD like Dr. Akerele. He's not a magician, and he's not a preacher or a witch doctor like my enemy. Then what then is a consultant? You are a management consultant and you don't even need to go to Harvard. Then what are you actually doing? Now, for us to know what they do, we also need to look at how did they work with clients. Then that will give us, streamline us to what they do. So how did they define working with the client means they will need to define the project. Defining the project will include opening and closing a question, having a definition of what he needs to do, creating solution, and it talks to key decision makers. Another thing does is he needs to entice the client by doing sometimes he does free analysis for clients. He does free training of juniors. Sometimes he does corporate entertainment. He buys them gifts. These are things he needs to use in enticing clients. Also, he also talk about his successful project. Like I have this contract, that contract I've executed. He talks about his goals and how he operates. He also talk about the need for reuse, that yes, that these are things that I can do. I am involved in this and I can give you things you can also do on your own. he measures things, he talks in figures, he tries to ensure the clients understand that when they discuss, he can do a quick analysis of measurement for the client. And then, wow, so that means you have this knowledge. And it tries as much as possible to give a very brief, concise, but solid conclusion when it comes to issue. And it tries as much as possible to ensure he is not the project. The person is not the project. He is just there as a consultant. The project remains the project. So in what he does as a consultant, he passes through what we call the consulting life cycle. And the consulting life cycle is what, when a consultant picks up a job, these are the things he does anytime he picks up the job. Whether the job is executed within a day or is taking close to a year to execute the job, this process will still be followed. So let's look at the process briefly. One, you will initiate contact with the organization. Then they come in, they discuss, that is definition. They talk about the problem. Yes, this is what the problem we're having. And this is what we can afford to pay you. This is the time that you need to finish the task. You all agree. That is definition. You define, you decide, and define all the parameters for the project. After that, you leave the organization and start what we call proposal and contract. Some of you will shake hands, you sign, you collect your first installment. Now, what is the next thing? You go to the field for data collection. What are the information I need? It could be qualitative data or quantitative data. After that, after you collected the data you need, you go to data analysis, you analyze the data. Then, after analysis of data, decision-making planning. What are the information you can get from this? Then you create your intervention. This is, you submit your report and you review the report with the owner. So once you review the report, you disengage. That is the end of your contract. Sometimes this process could take 2 years, 3 years on a project. Why sometimes it can take as fast as 2-3 hours. You are done with what you need to do, you deliver, you take your work. So every project, consulting project, passes through this cycle. So you can now see consulting is a science because it has a process. All the same, it is still an art because you can learn it over time. So what are the roles of a consultant? One, advocacy. You can be employed as a PR consultant to go and push some certain things. Technical experts, the knowledge we don't have, the skill we don't have, come and share it with us. You are a trainer and an educator. You are a collaborator in problem solving. You try to immerse yourself to feel the empathy of the people you are trying to analyze, to be able to feel how do we solve this problem. You're also an alternative identifier. The system has its own people that identify issues. You are also there to help them. You are a fact finder, you are a process specialist, and you are also a reflector. You allow your employer to see things they don't see, because sometimes while carrying out your job, you also take a role playing to understand what your clients or your subjects are experiencing. So I brought up this map to help us understand the role more. And then if you look at, I have two diagrams. The first one is the multiple roles of consultants. That you can see the box was made into two. So as your client should be the reflector more than you. You are more of an advocate more than your client. When it comes to technical expert, you can see the consultant is expected to have more technical expert than your client. That's why you engage. Trainers of education will expect the consultant to be more trained than the client. And that's why you're acquiring knowledge so that you will have more exposure to be able to relate with clients. Now, collaborator in problem solving, you can see both of them are more or less equal in that. Alternative identifier, the owner tends to take more. So you can see for each of those roles, you can see the one the consultant is expected to do more, and not you are employed as a consultant. You are supposed to be an advocacy for best practices. You are not the one who is behaving as if you are the client, at least putting looking at it from the point of the owner. So let's look at the level of consultant activities in problem solving. Now, there are some that are directive, there are some that are non-directive. For example, if you raise questions for at least reflection, it is a non-directive activity. But for example, if you provide information and suggestion for policy or practice decision, that is directive. When the proposed guideline persuades or directs in the problem solving process, that is also directive. So you can see sometimes it's not everything you conclude and you say you have to go this way. Sometimes it is non-directive. You just want to be do a fact-finding mission and you present same to the organization. So any question, please, before we proceed? We are going to the do's and don'ts of consulting, and after that, we'll have one more. Any question, please, so far? Okay, if there is none, let's now look at the next 3-4 slides, then we can have some discussions around it. So let's look at the do's and don'ts of consultants. Consultants do listen carefully